Am I wrong for never telling my mother that I married into money? I, 34 female, have a difficult relationship with my mother. She had me when she was 17 and was addicted to various substances when I was growing up. She'd leave me with whoever would watch me for days on end, and I'd end up mostly raising myself. I left home at 16 and couch surfed with various friends until I was able to get my own place. At 25, I met my now husband and we got married 3 years later. His family is the polar opposite of mine and are incredible, so loving and warm. I honestly consider his parents mine and call them mom and dad. They also happen to be quite well off, but that isn't something I care about. I mention it because it matters to the story. Last year, my mother reached out to me after a decade of not speaking to her, wanting to reconnect and introduce me to my little sister who was 2 years old. I was confused as I hadn't even known she'd been pregnant, but it seemed she had been a change of life baby. I thought maybe she'd turn over a new leaf, and if not, I wanted to make sure the kid was okay. At first, it seemed like things had changed and she was trying. This illusion lasted for the first few visits over 6 months. Then she broke down, told me she couldn't do this, and asked me to take my sister. My husband and I had a long talk about it. We've been struggling with fertility and have been considering adoption anyway. We told her if we were doing this, we were doing it right, and we had his family lawyers ensure it was a legal adoption, and airtight, which took several months. My in-laws adore her and consider her their granddaughter. They've even set up a trust fund for her. We have allowed my mother one supervised visit per month, so she's not totally cut off from my sister. But it was during these visits things went badly as she saw how she was dressed and the toys she had, and realized they were expensive. She began to rip into us for hiding the fact we have money, and how if we had just given her money, she would not have given us my sister as she could have taken better care of her. I told her while we have some money, it's mostly my husband's parents' money, not ours, so she had no right to know about it. Also, that I wouldn't have given her money anyways as I didn't trust her. She broke down calling me a selfish who never considered how hard things were for her. I now feel some guilt. My husband had told me that if I want to make myself feel better, he'll give her money, but that seems like a bad idea as she'd likely use it badly or blow it through, then expect more. Despite this though, I do feel bad. Maybe I should have tried to help her more now that my luck is better, or maybe I should have been more honest with her. Am I the asshole for keeping this from her?
I'm 15 weeks pregnant with our poly family's second baby, and here I am thinking about running away from the family that we've created. Me and my husband have been married for 9 years, and we've been doing this whole poly thing for about 4 years now. This all started when my husband confessed that he had feelings for our mutual friend, and he really sold me on the whole poly triad thing, so we moved in together. My family disapproved and stopped visiting us, which obviously hurt, but things were okay. I did struggle with some jealousy issues, although I told my husband that I was ready to date someone new and bring someone into our fold. I actually, in reality, was not at all. The guys that I liked quickly distanced themselves when they found out that I was a married woman in a non-monogamous relationship. It was definitely hard, and all the guys that were attracted to me and did want to pursue things with me, I was not attracted to. Things really changed in 2017 when my husband's girlfriend got pregnant with my husband's first baby. I love the kid, I really do. She calls me mama and she loves me a lot. Right around that same time, my company promoted me and I went from working like 4 hours a day to essentially living out of my state for 4 months out of the year. I immersed myself in my work a lot, and in 2019, my husband talked about having one of our own so that we could finally complete the family. Fast forward and I find out that I'm pregnant with a baby boy. We had a big gender reveal and everything, and the kiddo knows that she is getting a sibling now. I'm currently 15 weeks along, and 2 nights ago, my company offered me a permanent position in the new city. From a career standpoint, it would be super foolish of me to let this opportunity go, but if I do accept the opportunity, then it will probably break my family apart. Right now, my husband and his girlfriend are working on setting up the baby room, and I'm sitting here conflicted. I'm really tempted to take the job and run away from the family that we've created, and I'm also sort of considering not having this baby. My friend thinks that I should take the offer because he knows that I am not happy with my life and my relationship right now. I have friends in that city, so I know that I wouldn't be alone. What do I do? 15 weeks pregnant, I'm getting an abortion next week and moving on from my poly family. So this is the update. I made a post a few days ago about being conflicted with a new job offer in an existing pregnancy. Just thought I'd share here first. Last night, I accepted the job offer and I'm getting an abortion next week. My friend is helping me every step of the way. I'll be filing for divorce in a week or two. I've had great years with my poly family and my husband, and now it's time for me to make the jump and dive into the unknown. Thanks to all the people who sent me supportive PMs and helped me make my decision. And yes, I did talk to a therapist via Zoom. That session helped me clear my head in a way that I hadn't felt before. And no, I haven't talked to my husband. I will talk to him after I actually get the abortion procedure done. I'm really focused at this moment and don't want conflicting opinions to derail my journey, so I will talk to him after it's all done. Thank you. I'm not poly. My husband became poly a couple of years into our marriage when he fell in love with a mutual friend, and I went along with it because I wanted to please my husband and I was afraid of our marriage breaking up. He was and is my only partner, and I was terrified to lose him. Clearly that was a mistake, and it built a lot of resentment inside me over the years, which I couldn't understand or justify to myself. I finally aborted my 15-week pregnancy, and I'm ending my polyamorous marriage. I moved out this Wednesday. If you check my post history, you would know what I'm talking about. Just an update for the people who reached out to me. I did get an abortion last week on Friday. I finally told him this week on Wednesday. I've never seen him so broken. It broke my heart to see him cry, but I had to do it. His girlfriend hugged me. Little kiddo hugged me and bid me goodbye. My husband refused to talk to me. I'm waiting for him to reach out. I'm giving him space right now. I'm at peace and I don't regret my decision. With this, I'm bidding my poly lifestyle a final goodbye.
I saw a lady on here who was recommending like anti-transgender children's books to people, so here's one I wrote instead. On a quiet street lined with trees, the sun began to rise and lit up all the houses that sat neatly side by side. Each one had its differences, unique in little ways, but every one was painted in a single shade of gray. Every house had bright white walls and the reddest red front door. They all had simple, sleek decor and light brown hardwood floors. And every yard had a gorgeous garden bathing in the sun. All were lush with blooming flowers. All except for one. You see, house number 43 looked different from the rest. Its roof was sagging, its lawn dried up, the garden's flowers dead. And since a little happy house is what most families want, number 43 became the house that no one bought. One day after school let out, a boy walked up the street. "Why is it you seem so sad?" he asked house 43. "Come on in, see for yourself," the little house replied. The boy ran up the front porch steps and made his way inside. It was nothing like he'd ever seen. A hallway painted pink, an orange bedroom, a yellow bathroom, a lime green kitchen sink. Every room was different, like a rainbow through and through, and every piece of furniture was made in different hues. "I know why you're sad," he said. "I know what it is. Your outside doesn't match up with the house you are within." After that, the little boy would come back every day to paint the house with color till he covered up the gray. The neighbors didn't like it and protested on the lawn, but the house knew being happy meant much more than what they thought. When the boy was nearly done, the neighbors yelled and booed. Ignoring them, he finished with a brush of royal blue. And just like that, the house's sagging roof began to rise. The neighbors all fell silent. They could not believe their eyes. The grass grew long and lush and green. The flowers sprouted up. Trees began to rise out of the ground with rainbow trunks. The little house was filled with light. The birds were singing songs, and the people in the street began to see that they'd been wrong. The neighborhood began to fill with folks from all around, who came to see the most unique and scenic house in town. And for the first time ever, the house stood tall with pride. It then said to the little boy, standing by its side, "You've given me my color, all my gardens and my trees, but the greatest gift of all is that I finally feel like me."
Allow me to fill you in on the absolute drama that is unfolding in my neighborhood. We've lived here for over a year, and when we moved in, we took on the responsibility of illegally feeding the neighborhood cats. What are you gonna do? The cat shows up at your door, they're fucking hungry. What am I gonna say? No, I don't want to get a fine. Sorry, you're hungry. Like, no. There's a ton of cats. They come and go. You know, we get attached to a few of them. One in particular told me his name was Blakely. Okay? He's a gray cat. Love him to death. He shows up consistently. He hangs out on the porch with me. He's a cute guy. He's fun, all right? At one point, Blakely finishes eating. He walks down the steps to leave. Another cat attacks him, but they break up pretty quickly. The other guy's hungry. I feed the other guy. Like, listen, there's plenty for everybody, all right? May not know how I'm going to pay my bills, but I'm certainly going to buy the cat's food. I don't know, because don't ask me about my priorities. I don't know, a week later, Blakely shows up one night with a girl. With a girlfriend, right? He brings the girlfriend home to meet the parents. He's trying to get her to come up on the porch. She doesn't trust me. I understand, right? I don't like strangers either. Blakely eats. He's crying at her to come up on the porch. She won't do it. She's hiding under her car. She's peeking out. And he goes to lay next to the car. He talks to her for a while. She's clearly not going to come out. So he finally leaves. Goes towards the dumpsters. Has to find himself dessert. I don't know. She comes out. As soon as he leaves, she comes out. So she comes up on the porch and she eats, right? And while she's eating, she hears Blakely crying and coming back up. And she's like, I'm out of here. And I'm like, she just ate and ran. She did a dine and dash. She didn't want none of that dick. I don't blame her either. I don't blame her. She didn't want nothing to do with him. She was like, I'm here for the food. I want a free meal. And I'm going home. You gotta do what you gotta do in these streets out here. I get it, right? And as much as I love Blakely, he's still a boy. All right? So she runs. Blakely comes back. He's looking for her. I don't know what happens, right? I go to bed. And I come out another night. Blakely eats. He goes to leave. And this other big, old, fluffy motherfucker who I call the big bad bully, he comes along, jumps out of the bushes, and ambushes Blakely. Okay? They're rolling through the parking lot like a fucking cartoon animation, like a wheel. Just one on top of the other. And they're screaming. Both of them are just screaming. And I'm yelling at them. I'm out here at 3 o'clock in the goddamn morning with no shoes in the parking lot, talking to some fucking feral cats. Like, just the whitest shit I've ever done. Okay? Just the whitest. It could have. The only thing that would have made it whiter was if I tried to get between these two cats, right? But I'm like, what am I gonna do? You know, so I yell at them. They're unfazed. They're cats. They don't give a fuck about me. Okay? Keep fighting. And they're chasing each other. And I can hear them down the block, right? They're screaming. Blakely doesn't show up for a while. And now I'm mad. Because I know that the bully hurt him. But I still feed the bully. Because I'm an idiot. Alright? There's really no other excuse. So anyways, Blakely eventually shows back up. He's got a hurt foot. I'm upset about it. He's limping around. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Meanwhile, the girlfriend continues to show up, but not with Blakely. I know. I don't really blame her. Sometimes she'll show up when he's around. But he's being pushy. Like, he's being pushy about it. You know, like he's in her face. Like, she's trying to eat. Dude, he already told you no. She doesn't feel like it. Leave her alone. Meanwhile, the bully's still hanging around. I end up out here one night at 4 o'clock in the morning, standing between the two cats while Blakely eats and yelling at this other cat to leave him alone. Once again, if there's not a video out there somewhere on TikTok of my white ass standing out here talking to some feral cats at 4 o'clock in the morning, I would be appalled. Blakely gets away. The other guy, I feed the other guy. I don't want him to bully Blake. There's enough food for everybody, so I feed him. Then, there's where it gets juicy. The girlfriend shows up one day. And now, feral cats are pretty, like, muscular and thin most of the time. Unless they're an escaped house cat. So I'm always looking for the pouch to see if I should post it on Facebook or something. She's pregnant. This girl is pregnant. She shows up and I'm like, girl, I thought you didn't want none of that. And I don't want to make assumptions. Maybe it wasn't Blakely. There's a lot of feral cats around. Maybe it wasn't Blakely. But now, she's hanging out with the bully. She's hanging out with Blakely. And she's hanging out with some other boy. All right? Some random ass boy I've never seen before in my life. Now, she's bringing guys home. So now, for a while, I was trying to protect her. I was trying to keep the other cats, like, away from her. Because the guys, you know, like, have been aggressive. And I'm like, maybe they're going to hurt her. And they're all, like, whining and shit. Like, they want to do it. Like, girl, like, she's pregnant. Like, leave her alone. Leave her alone. So, anyways, I've been trying to, like, protect her or whatever. And the other day, I didn't catch it. And one of the guys, like, approached the food bowl while she was still eating, right? And she turns around and hisses in this motherfucker's face and slaps him. She just slaps a bitch in the face. All the little boys that have been hanging around the porch all wait for her to be done eating and drinking her little water. And then she sits down and then they're allowed to eat. She's the queen of my porch. She didn't even pay rent. She has more of a say in what's going on than I do. The question is now, Whose fucking babies are this? When they pop out, are they gonna be big and fluffy like the bully? Are they gonna be gray like Blakely? Or are they gonna be white like Mr. Goddamn Random Ass Rogers? I can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be like Jerry Springer, Maury, who's the daddy? I'll be running DNA tests up in this bitch, lie detector tests. Take your votes. I want you to take your votes in the comments right now. Okay, we got Mr. Random Ass Rogers, we got Mr. Fluffy Big Back Bully, and we got Blakely. 2 separate words. Blake Lee. That's about as exciting as my life gets, you know?
Let's talk about 10 things that I would never ever do in the talking stage. Also, these are things that I would never do. If you would do them, that's fine. This is just stuff that I personally wouldn't do. Number 1 is let the talking stage last longer than 3 months. If you're getting through the 3-month mark of the talking stage, you're probably never gonna get past the talking stage. I think if after 3 months you guys are not in a relationship, you probably never will be, and then you shouldn't like waste more time with this person if they're not taking you seriously. Number 2 is get to the dreaded place where you're asking, hey, what are we? What are we doing here? I feel like if you're getting to the point that you have to ask, what are we? That's just not good. And that's because I always say if a man really likes you and you guys are on the same page of what things are, you won't have to ask, what are we? Because asking what are we means that you're confused. And if you're confused, then he doesn't like you. If a man likes you, you won't be confused. If you're confused, he doesn't like you. Number 3, this is something I'm guilty of in the past, but number 3 is ignore red flags, because the red flags you ignore in the beginning will be the reason you leave in the end. And trust me, I've had people before where there were red flags in the talking stage and then I dated them and then those red flags came out during the relationship or after lots of time passed, ended up being a factor in the relationship ending. So pay attention to those things. They're in front of you, they're there. Number 4, I want to emphasize before people come for me that this one is personal preference, okay? Personal preference is I would not get too physical or too intimate too quick with someone. Personally, for me, intimacy makes me feel very attached to people and very close to them, and I just wouldn't want to do that unless I knew that I felt good in the relationship and I knew what we were gonna be and I felt that we were in a direction where I could be confident in the relationship. If we're in the talking stage, I don't wanna rush into intimacy because then if things don't go well, I know I'm gonna take it 10 times harder. So for me personally, during the talking stage, I don't like to rush into intimacy. I don't think there's a rush, like there's nothing to be rushed about, and I'd rather them fall in love with my mind and then my body. But like I said before, this is just a really personal choice. It's just something that I know myself and that's how it is for me. Number 5 is post that man. If you are not my boyfriend, I am not posting you. I'm not posting up with you. I'm not publicly being linked to you in any way, shape, or form. Until you take me off the market, I'm not gonna make myself look like I'm off the freaking market. And also, like, how embarrassing to like post your talking stage and then like maybe they're talking to other girls or something, you know, and you're not his girlfriend, so don't do that. Do not give him the moment to be on your socials yet. Wait till he's like your man and hard launch. Number 6 is chase a man. Personally, if a guy pulls away from me and like stops texting me or hitting me up as much as he was, and like starts breadcrumbing me or something or just pulling away, the last thing I'm gonna do is chase him. Like, I'll only meet you halfway, so if you're pulling away, I'm not gonna extend an extra leg, I'm just gonna also pull back. A lot of girls chase guys that breadcrumb them, and I'm like, I can't think of anything more miserable than doing that. Like, I would rather be alone. That sounds really stressful. Number 7, some people also won't agree with this, but if I'm in the talking stage with someone and then I get asked on a date by someone else, I'm not gonna say no. Like I said before, if you don't want me to see other people, then make me unavailable by making me your girlfriend. And you know, if you're not making me unavailable, then I'm not gonna make myself unavailable and give you this VIP boyfriend treatment. Like, we literally live in a world where in history, men have like waged wars in pursuit of women. And some of you guys are sitting around here waiting for a guy to text you back and like being loyal to your talking stage. Like, what is that? My eyebrows have been so good recently. Whenever I have them laminated, it's just so much easier to fill them in and do them. But yeah, I see some girls out here that are like loyal to their talking stage or whatever. But I'm like, if he likes you so much, he could make you his girlfriend right now. And he hasn't. So if that other guy asks you to dinner, you should go. Going off of the last one is number 8. And number 8 is wait around. I will not wait around for you to hit me up. If it's a Friday night, you know, and you haven't told me at least 24 hours in advance or at least the night before, like, hey, I want to take you out on a date, I'm not going to wait around for you to text me. I'm going to make other plans. I think it's really important to do your own thing and to never show a man that you're willing to sit and wait around for him or compromise your plans or your schedule for, you know, him in the talking stage. If he's not respecting your time and telling you ahead of time, like, hey, I really want to see you, and like making it an actual plan and like telling you like, hey, I'm going to pick you up at this time, don't be sitting your ass around like a clown waiting. That's literally such fucking clowny ass behavior. Do not fucking do that. You can't always be available either. Just stop. The best part about being in LA is literally that my makeup doesn't crease and it just looks so much better here. Florida, it's so humid. I have to use 1,000 pounds of powder and setting spray to hold this bitch in place, versus in LA, it's just gonna sit nicely every time. I love using the freckle pen to make fake freckles. I just think it also just makes it look like, yeah, you know, I barely have any makeup on. Just a light, natural look. Number 9 is I will not be the pursuer in the relationship. Being the pursuer is the man's job. It's literally in a man's DNA to pursue a woman. I will not be the lead pursuer in this. Like, why would I want that? I'd be unattracted. I wouldn't want to pursue if they weren't pursuing me. Number 10 is be delusional. A lot of girls during the talking stage will create in their head an idea of who this man is and what it could be like if they were in a relationship with him. And then they go and they put him on a pedestal because they're thinking about this fantasy version of him that isn't in front of them and doesn't exist. Sometimes even being so delusional that they're choosing to kind of date him for potential and what he could grow into, versus you should be dating someone for what's right in front of you. But yeah, I won't fall for someone's potential, and I won't be in a one-sided delusionship with somebody. It's just, that's not gonna work. That's silly.
There's absolutely no way I'm letting my boyfriend's best female friend plan my baby shower. Let's just say I'm not this girl's number 1 fan or number 2 fan. I mean, she could be worse, but she's just a lot all of the time. Her and my boyfriend have been best friends since they were kids, and I'm pretty sure that he is her only friend, probably because she does not have any concept of personal space or boundaries. The amount of times this girl has just shown up uninvited to our house, like, I don't want to be rude, but I also don't want you here. Anytime my boyfriend tells her what we're doing, she's like, oh my gosh, that sounds so much fun. Can I come? And my boyfriend, way too nice to say no. So she's with us all of the time. And trust me, I've talked to my boyfriend about this issue again and again. And he always says he's going to talk to her. And then he reverts to, well, I was going to talk to her, but I just don't want to hurt her feelings. It could be worse. She's a nice enough girl and we have some similar interests. So I don't always hate having her around, but seeing her 6 out of the 7 days a week, that's too much for me. She even recently moved to a new apartment to live closer to us. But since I've become pregnant, she's become absolutely unbearable. The first time we told her, she started sobbing, and I thought they were happy tears. No, she's just like, everything's gonna change now. Everything's gonna change. Yeah, that's what happens when people have babies. Things change. We actually didn't hear from her for a few days after we told her, and it was really nice. I feel like I could actually hear myself think without her yapping in my ear all the time. But only a few days later, guess who showed up on our doorstep wearing a World's Best Aunt t-shirt? Like, I didn't think we discussed that the baby was gonna call you their aunt, but okay, I guess if that's what you want. And this is when it started. The non-stop text messages to my boyfriend giving him advice for mama. Okay, why don't you just text me? And I mean, she was giving tips for everything, to the kind of music I should be listening to the kind of food I should be eating, to the kinds of clothes I should be wearing. Like, girl, you have never been pregnant before. What do you know about having a baby? And yeah, it did bug me that she was texting my boyfriend all of these things that she could easily have texted me. But the final straw for me was when she started commenting on the food I was eating. Little did I know, this girl was policing my Instagram story like a hawk. And every time I posted something I was eating, she'd immediately go text my boyfriend, hey, you should tell Kelsey she really shouldn't be eating that. It's not good for the baby. Let me eat my McDouble in peace, okay? That is something I don't mess around with. And I eat healthy most of the time. But when I don't want to eat healthy or I have pregnancy cravings, like literally every pregnant person does, I want to eat what I want, okay? I'm growing a little human. I deserve it. And the comments, they're snarky. Things like, doesn't she know that being a good parent starts when you're pregnant? Needless to say, I was already fed up with this girl. When finally she texts me, shocker, yeah, she texted me, and said that she wanted to plan my baby shower. And I was really proud of myself because I was actually really nice about it. And I told her that even though I appreciated the offer, my mom and my sister were planning my baby shower. It's something that is really special for them. They really want to do. And so the two of them are going to be planning it for me. Remember what I said about her not having boundaries? Yeah. The next day, she shows up uninvited and unannounced at my door saying she's ready to pick out a venue for the baby shower. I reminded her, like, duh. Yesterday, remember I said that that wasn't going to happen, and she said that she decided that she was going to plan it. Oh, I actually didn't know that was a decision that she was going to make. And I don't know if it was the pregnancy hormones or what, but I lost it on her. I told her that for years I'd put up with her no boundaries, sense of entitlement thing, and I wasn't going to do it anymore, and especially not when it comes to my pregnancy. I said, if you have an issue with the way I'm handling my pregnancy, you can take that up with me and not my boyfriend because he's not the one who's pregnant. I told her, you're not the one who's pregnant. And we're done with this whole open door policy you seem to think we have. Okay, next time you either need to be invited over or you need to ask if you can come over. No more just showing up my doorstep, okay? Obviously, she gets upset. And she's like, I can't believe he told you those things. I texted him. Those were in confidence. He shouldn't have told you. And I was like, listen, I'm going to be the mother of his child. So anything you text to him, I have the right to see. Okay, we don't have secrets. I told her the things she texted were nasty and not appreciated. And she was like, I was just trying to do my best to help my future niece or nephew. And I said, you're not an aunt. You're not the kid's aunt. And she did not like that one. So she leaves in tears and obviously went to go tattletale to my boyfriend because shortly after, I receive a not very happy call from him. And he told me that to make it up to her, he thinks that I should let her plan the baby shower, which that's not happening, okay? But he's being insistent and I don't know, maybe I was too hard on the girl.
Am I the astronaut for telling my girlfriend that she gave me the ick at a family dinner? I'm 32, dating my girlfriend Jenny, 27 female, for almost a year now, and we've met each other's families. Jenny is an only child of an Asian family, while I'm half and half with one younger sister, Anna, 21 female. Anna and I are close despite our age gap. Our parents both work demanding jobs, and I would babysit or chaperone for many of her bratty teen years. In recent months, I've noticed that whenever Anna comes up in conversation, Jenny would joke about how Anna is overly spoiled by my parents and I, and how we've created a princess. Last week at a family dinner with my parents, I felt like Jenny was overly grilling Anna on school/dating/life. At one point, Anna was telling a story about how a first date gave her the ick by not pulling out his wallet after their meal, let her foot the full meal. Jenny laughed and said that not every man will treat her to dinner like her brother would, and that you need to lower your standards. I was not happy with this comment, as it sounded like my sister didn't deserve to be treated with basic respect, but also didn't want to embarrass Jenny. Jennifer then went on to talk about how that would never happen to her, as men see her as high value. I don't know what about the comment just pissed me off, but I said that she was giving me the ick and to stop talking to my sister like that. The argument we had when we got home was massive, and Jenny told me that I was overreacting to an innocuous comment and would make a terrible father because I would always favor my sister over everyone else. I'm shocked at being called a terrible father and honestly don't think that I was wrong, but need another opinion. Top comment here is NTA. It sounds like she's trying to compete with your sister. I would have already gotten rid of her.